This is a civil rights training for the Supplemental Nutrition Program education. This training is intended for staff, non-staff, and administrators of SNAP-Ed. The slide deck for today's training was created to establish and convey policy and provide guidance and direction to the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, Food and Nutrition Service, FNS, and its recipients and customers, and ensure compliance with and enforcement of the prohibition against discrimination in all FNS nutrition programs and activities, whether federally funded in full or not. First, we will discuss civil rights coverage and legal authorities. Then we will discuss all civil rights review areas. And finally, we'll address questions and next steps. This is an asynchronous video. I will not be able to answer live questions. Stay tuned for contact details of where you can direct questions and how to report that you completed this training. Slides 3 through 7 cover civil rights legal authorities and include references that require today's training and content, such as the topics listed on slide 2. All authorities include language that holds any entity that receives federal financial assistance accountable in the following ways. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination based on race, color, and national origin. The Civil Rights Restoration Act of 1997 clarifies the intent of Congress as it relates to the scope of Title VI and related non-discrimination statutes. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 prohibits discrimination based on disability. Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 prohibits discrimination based on sex. The Age Discrimination Act of 1975 prohibits discrimination based on age. 7 CFR Part 15, 15A, 15B, and 15C gives USDA agencies authority to develop civil rights requirements. 7 CFR Part 16, Equal Opportunity for Religious Organizations, gives equal footing to religiously affiliated organizations. Americans with Disabilities Act 28 CFR Part 35 prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability. 28 CFR Part 42 covers non-discrimination. Enforcement of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, national origin discrimination against persons with limited English proficiency, LEP, is the Federal Register site for Department of Justice guidance or Executive Order 13166, improving access to services for persons with limited English proficiency. USDA Departmental Regulation 4330-2 prohibits discrimination in those programs and activities of the USDA. FNS Instruction 113-1 and Appendix A SNAP provides information on civil rights compliance and enforcement. The Food Stamp Act of 1977 is an entitlement program available to all individuals and families who meet the income, resource, and eligibility requirements as specified under the Act and corresponding regulations. The Act prohibits discrimination against any applicant or participant in any aspect of program administration for reasons of age, race, color, sex, handicap, religious creed, national origin, or political beliefs. USDA Regulation 7 CFR Part 271-8285 covers SNAP regulations. SNAP guidance on non-citizen eligibility covers eligibility requirements. And that concludes our review of civil rights legal authorities. Next, we will discuss all civil rights review areas. SNAP Ed discrimination is defined as different treatment which makes a distinction of one person or a group of persons from other, either intentionally by neglect or by the actions or lack of action. Protected classes for SNAP and SNAP activities are listed on slide 7. While we're here, I also want to define a few terms that will assist in a clear understanding of this training. Subrecipients, applicants, and participants are terms used throughout today's presentation. I will define them here. In this presentation, a subrecipient is defined as any agency, organization, or cooperation that receives federal financial assistance indirectly from FNS. Examples of subrecipients include, but are not limited to, food banks, nonprofit, nutrition, education, and health promotion organizations, and county health departments. Applicants are defined as a person who applies for participation in an FNS federally assisted or conducted program. Participants are individuals who receive assistance, services, or benefits under an FNS program. For example, persons receiving food stamp benefits or WIC benefits. Assurance is a contractual agreement in which a state agency, local agency, or other subrecipient legally agrees to administer FNS program services and benefits in accordance with all laws, regulations, instructions, policies, and guidance related to non-discrimination in program delivery. Subrecipients of federally funded programming will operate in compliance with all non-discrimination laws, regulations, instructions, policies, and guidelines. Civil rights assurance must be incorporated in all agreements, including retailer and vendor agreements. All FNS programs must include a public notification system. The purpose of this system is to inform applicants, participants, and potentially eligible persons of the program availability, program rights and responsibilities, the policy of non-discrimination, and the procedure for filing a complaint. The elements of public notification include program availability, information, and non-discrimination statements. Program availability includes activities that inform applicants, participants, and potentially eligible persons of their program rights and responsibilities and the steps necessary for participation. Complaint information includes advising applicants and participants at the service delivery point of their right to file a complaint, how to file a complaint, and the complaint procedure. A non-discrimination statement must be included on all information materials and sources, including websites used in program delivery. Slides 11 through 17 will discuss these elements in more detail. In accordance with these public notification elements, subrecipients must make program information available to the public upon request. They must prominently display the Justice for All poster during all activities funded indirectly by FNS. Inform potentially eligible persons, applicants, participants, and grassroots organizations of programs or changes in programs. Provide appropriate information in alternative formats for persons with disabilities and in the appropriate language for people with LET. Finally, convey the message of equal opportunity in all photos and other graphics that are used to provide program or program-related information. This is the full non-discrimination statement. This is the full statement in Spanish. This is the joint non-discrimination statement. And this is the joint non-discrimination statement in Spanish. At minimum, the full version of the non-discrimination statement must be on all documents and records, including forms, subrecipient websites, public information, including program literature that is shared with students and families. Short versions of the non-discrimination statement are available in English and Spanish for special circumstances only. All available versions of the non-discrimination statement can be found on the SNAP Ed Connection website, Guidance and Templates page. The link for this site is available in the description of this video. Justice for All posters must be displayed in any location where SNAP Ed activities, including but not limited to direct education, recruitment, and health promotion, take place. Justice for All posters are provided by state agencies. Slides 18 through 20 cover racial ethnic data collection and reporting. Data collection is mandatory for all subcontractors. Subcontractors are responsible for collecting and maintaining records of all racial and ethnic data of participants in accordance with FNS policy. Data is used to improve program reach and complete statewide and national reports on SNAP Ed activities. To meet the reporting requirements of FNS, subrecipients must report ethnicity and race of participants and applicants. Participants and applicants should be encouraged to provide the information by explaining the use of statistical data. The following is an example that may be utilized when soliciting characteristic data from an applicant or participant. This information is requested solely for the purpose of determining the state's compliance with federal civil rights law. By providing this information, you will assist us in ensuring that this program is administered in a non-discriminatory manner. Next topic is complaints of discrimination, slides 21 through 23. Applicants or participants allege different treatment based on protected classes, including those listed inside slide 21. Complaints can be processed at the state level or must be forwarded to the FNS Civil Rights Division within 5 days of receipt. Civil rights complaints must be maintained in a log separate from other program complaints. Applicants and participants must file within 180 days of the alleged action. USDA complaint forms are available using these links. Links are also found in this video's description, as well as the non-discrimination statements discussed earlier. This program is subject to compliance reviews, which we will discuss in slides 24 through 29. Compliance reviews must examine the activities of state agencies, local agencies, and subrecipients to determine that FNS programs are being administered in compliance with civil rights requirements. There are 3 types of compliance reviews: pre-award compliance reviews, routine compliance reviews, and special compliance reviews. Pre-award compliance reviews are desk reviews where program plans and data can be used to show that state and local are in compliance with civil rights requirements prior to approval. Or post-award reviews assess all civil rights compliance areas that we are going over in today's training. These reviews set out to answer a series of questions related to civil rights compliance, including: do printed materials contain the non-discrimination statement? Is the Justice for All poster displayed appropriately? Is data on race and ethnicity collected appropriately? Are reasonable modifications appropriately made for people with disabilities? Finally, special compliance reviews are a follow-up to previous findings of noncompliance and may be specific to an incident or policy. Noncompliance is defined as the finding that any civil rights requirement, as interpreted by regulations, training materials, policies, or state agencies, local agencies, or other subrecipient guidelines has not been satisfied. Findings must be addressed immediately by the reviewed entity. A voluntary resolution agreement is an agreement that recipients are willfully consenting to undertake remedial actions to address identified areas of noncompliance or in violation with applicable civil rights laws and/or regulations. Civil rights training, like this one, are required at all levels of administration programs that receive federal funding. Subrecipients must maintain records that confirm anyone involved in agency activities has completed a civil rights training. Civil rights trainings must be completed annually by all staff. Training topics should include the full list found here. Subcontractors should demonstrate effective customer service by creating opportunities for feedback. This may include asking a participant to complete a feedback survey or instigating an informal conversation about a participant's experience. Participant responses are vital to ensuring continued program improvement. Staff should accept and document feedback with curiosity, enthusiasm, and gratitude. Should a conflict arise in the delivery of approved activities, staff are encouraged to use conflict resolution techniques. First, observe and ask questions to better understand the root cause of the conflict. Then, determine a solution. Next, verify that the solution aligns with the initial problem. Make an agreement with those involved in the conflict to establish collaboration and responsibility. Finally, follow up to ensure that the agreement can be maintained and that the solution continues to be an effective one. Slides 37 through 39 address disability discrimination. Disabled is defined as a household member who suffers from a disability considered permanent under the Social Security Act or who suffers from a non-disease related severe and permanent disability. State and local offices must provide reasonable modifications to applicants and participants with disabilities when applicable. Reasonable modifications are described in the bullet points on slide 38. Slide 39 includes some examples of reasonable modifications that must be provided. Limited English proficiency, LEP, and program access are discussed on slides 39 through 44. Limited English proficiency persons are defined as individuals who do not speak English as their primary language and who have limited ability to read, speak, write, or understand English. Recipients of federal financial assistance have a responsibility to take reasonable steps to ensure meaningful access to their programs and activities by persons with limited English proficiency. Failure to provide meaningful access to persons with LEP could be discrimination on the basis of national origin. Some factors that must be considered when ensuring meaningful access include frequency with which LEP individuals come into contact with the program, available resources and their costs, and other considerations. State agencies lead activities that provide meaningful access, including assessing the language profile of states and regions, translating, and training frontline staff. Slide 43 discusses appropriate and inappropriate language services. Participants must not be asked to provide their own interpreter. Qualified and competent bilingual staff is an example of a language service that may be provided. Slide 44 includes links to population data sources. These links can also be found in the description of this video. Slide 45 and 46 discuss the verification of citizenship or immigration status. Verification should never give rise to discrimination. Non-citizens may apply for benefits or other eligible household members. State agency may only verify immigration status of those applying for benefits and should not obtain documentation for ineligible non-citizens. Any forms or applications for benefits should explain that the information, such as Social Security numbers, are only required for persons applying for benefits and must allow for the submission of information by non-applicant household members. That is the end of this training video. Since questions cannot be answered live, please direct any questions about the content of this training to Michele Sazo,